what I can say about this is I've done my research and literature, but I do know and have met the family. They are grateful that the truth is coming out. As you know, Admiral Zumwalt's son served in the Navy and died of Agent Orange, and Admiral Zumwalt Sr. wrote this document knowing the truth about it and wanting the truth to be out there, but was told that it was classified and that he could not speak. I do know that the family has suffered with the loss of family members due to the exposure. As everyone is probably aware, there are a Navy family. Everyone in his family did serve in combat areas at one time or another, and they have suffered the revenge of Agent Orange.
Well, this has hurt my family. This has hurt my family as well, and probably most families listening. But again, people only care about the Super Bowl. They'll get mad if the Colts lose or if the Saints lose. This is the mental illness. Everyone I know has had somebody hurt or killed or deformed children from this garbage who was in Vietnam while it was being used, and they know it. And here is the Admiral losing his son from it. I mean, why are we killing ourselves? The DU's even worse. Why are we? Why?
Well, I can't answer that. I know that, the chemical safety laws weren't put into effect until the 70s, but it is very apparent that Admiral Zumwalt was aware of it, and he regretted signing the order to use it as a pesticide herbicide, and it cut deeply personally for him. I can say in one section, just to verify, it says, a major source of exposure for ground forces were from non-recorded uses by brown water and blue water Navy, in addition to the flyovers by ranch hands. This document is quite broad and specific, and basically gives people benefits they've sought for 30 to 40 years.
Linda, you're not on a speakerphone, are you?
No, I'm not.
Yeah, it's just a little bit echoey. Try to get a little bit closer to the receiver for me. I'm definitely going to have you back up in the near future because you've got so much knowledge, so much research, and come so highly recommended by Dr. Doug Rockey. I mean, we have the scandal of this happening and similar things being used today and DU and all of this. But I guess the larger issue is, according to the research I've done, but correct me if I'm wrong, they're still trying to deny treatment, deny payments to families dealing with Agent Orange.
Yes, they are. And this document very clearly shows where there was a deliberate attempt to ensure that people were denied coverage from the exposure. That's the important point of the document, is this document clears up that issue and makes it very clear that all those backlogged people waiting for benefits should be granted those benefits immediately.
Do you know why they put the human nerve killer, the neurotoxin, in it? I mean, they say as a marker so they would know it was theirs. I mean, what does that mean? And you said it rates, meant to kill humans. I mean, killing 200-pound rats.
Right. In other words, with different countries involved in a war, you want to biomark your substance to know it's your poison versus somebody else's. It's like a marker on a bullet. And so this particular thing was put in there, I suspect, with the term of being a marker, because they had identified it as a marker in 1943 when it was found at the University of Chicago. But they put larger quantities in, knowing that it would become a nerve toxin and would go straight to the larger animals and rodents versus the smaller animals.
And knowing our troops were going to ingest it.
Correct. They knew it
so I mean, for whatever reason, McNamara and then others after him knew our troops were getting hit with super weapons grade neurotoxin on top of the dioxin.
Yes.
Very nice people. From your research into this, what are the effects of the neurotoxin, the dioxin, and the other chemicals?
What it essentially does in those exposed is the toxin embeds itself inside the cellular DNA. And at that level, it is passed on in body fluid and sperm, so that when husbands and wives go home, they pass it on to their unborn children, and those defects are passed on to other great-grandchildren, etc. So you basically, it's a take-home poison to the greater population.
And it wrecks DNA, and most of the time you end up having a miscarriage instead of a deformed baby. So it's also a sterilant.
I'm not specifically saying that. What I'm saying is it embeds itself in the cellular DNA and wreaks havoc from that point on.
And they admit that in this report. I mean, reading this report, this is from the military.
Yes, it is. It's admitted, and it's admitted that not only does it kill your children, it kills your grandchildren and any other member of your family that comes in contact with it.
Because it breaks up the DNA, and I've seen major studies. In fact, Google this, human DNA mutating faster. And it's scientists baffled at human DNA suddenly mutating. My God, these people are out of control.
Well, it's been known for a number of years, and it was identified in government reports, as in this one, to the Secretary of the Department of Veterans Affairs, and it was to give people benefits that they'd earned in the military, knowing that they would leave quite ill and probably would die within a few years from their exposures.
Sure. Well, I've been studying Monsanto. It turns out they knew in the 50s and 60s that this dioxin-based stuff was deadly, and they were burying it all over the country. So why do you think Monsanto and other chemical companies don't care?
One of the paragraphs is very important to the document, and it's on my page 35. It says, shamefully, the deception, fraud, and political interference is characterized government-sponsored studies of the health effects. Basically, I don't think Admiral Zumwalt was giving all the facts when he ordered this to be used to kill the weeds and the fauna that were, hiding people that were shooting at them. I don't think he knew. It didn't become available to people until after it was being used over there. So, the government had the facts, and the drug company and the chemical companies also helped them do that.
Yeah, I'm reading here from the Admiral's own secret report here about the shameful deception, fraud, and political interference that has characterized government-sponsored studies on the health. We're going to come back and talk about what we can do to try to help people, and DU's got a 40-something billion year total half-life till it, and they're using that all over the place. Pretty soon they might put it in the water and say it's like fluoride, good for your teeth. There's no end to what these people will do. They might say shooting yourself in the head is good. We'll be right back with our guest.